At the beginning, when I came to the United States, I could not speak English, right?
Wow.
I was very hesitant to ask anybody any questions.
Hmm.
Um, but then throughout the years, I worked for airlines, police department, railroad, even going to university, doing the classes, understanding American culture, and on the top of that, when I joined the military,
Hmm.
that's when I actually say, in myself, I
Hmm.
said there is nothing impossible,
Mm.
and there is nothing to be afraid of it, as long as you know you haven't done anything wrong,
Mm.
right? So America is the land of opportunity. And if you really look at it, the roots of America, if you're not Native Americans, we all migrated from different part of the world, maybe different times, right? I'm the
Everybody.
first generation coming in here
Oh, absolutely.
with no English, nothing, and here I am about to graduate with my PhD.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully, by the end of this year, I will graduate.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, being able to hold different position, different places, and the thing is, like, you set up in your mind what you want to do, what you want to be, and one of the things that it's within me is patriotism.
Hmm.
The country that has given me so much opportunity and everything, that I wanted to serve the country, and I spent most of my career serving our great nation.
Yeah.
But was I like this from the childhood? I'm not really sure, but when people dare me on things, I would just do it. I say, you know what?
You
I can
rebel.
do it.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not good, right? That
Yeah.
kind of attitude.
Yeah. So, talk to me about your transition into the Army.
I came to the United States in 1995 to go to college.
Hmm.
And in 1997, I started working for Continental Airlines. I'm bringing this about because the Army part of it. During the 2001 9/11, I was actually boarding the aircraft.
Whoa.
And I saw what happened on the television right by the gate.
Hmm.
From that day, it continued to start hunting me because that was cruel. That was attack in the country that I love, that I adore, and given me so much opportunity,
Yeah.
being attacked. Thousands of people, innocent people, died in front of my eyes. That was in my mind, and it would not go away. Kept on thinking again and again. It took me a while because 2003 I got married, and obviously when you have wife, it's hard to
New family.
convince.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I want to serve. I want to serve this country.
Wow.
And I walked into the army recruiting, and they looked at me like I was some sort of crazy dude.
Yeah.
Like, normally they go recruit people, and I was there like, hey, I want to join the military.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what it changed, in a sense, for me to join the
That
military.
was the trigger.
Trigger,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so now you're in the military and Army, correct?
Army.
Okay. What was your first what was your first role in the Army? So you go from Continental to the Army.
To the
That's a
army,
big jump. Okay.
yes.
With a family.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I have a lot appreciation to my wife for supporting
Oh yeah.
what I wanted to do, and she's
Oh yeah.
always been, that person who supports me in any circumstances. Right.
Yeah.
Um, I enlisted as a dental specialist.
Hmm.
Then, for a period of time, I had stopped going to college. And if you look at my high school, I graduated when I was 14 years old. I
Oh
was the
really?
youngest in a college back in Nepal.
Yeah.
15 years old in a college, always been teased in a way.
Mm.
Um, but I had a long gap in between. Then once I joined the military, I also found out about the ROTC program. So I started going back to college, and I found the program, that Reserve Officer Training Corps,
Mm-hmm.
and then I joined the ROTC.
Mm-hmm.
In 2010, I actually commissioned as a military intelligence officer.
Oh wow. Yeah. So how long did it take you? 5 years?
No, no. I enlisted in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and 2010 December I commissioned.
Oh wow, 2 years.
2 years, because I started going back to college.
Because you had already started. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
and that's one of the things that's thanks to the military, because I wanted to be an officer, and you gotta graduate, right? So that in
Absolutely.
a sense it forced me to, and I always want to go to school, but when you come as an immigrant to this country, there are a lot of struggles. I have spent several days and nights on the side of the street like a homeless,
Mm.
you know, struggle through and working two jobs, sleeping a couple hours, going to college. It's not easy.
No.
And when you don't know the language, and then on the top of that, there are a lot of slangs, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And you just look at it, and I had nobody here.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. So now you finish, you wrap up in the army, and then you come into back into the civilian world. How does that transfer? How did you transfer back into it?
So initially, I joined Texas Army National Guard,
Mm.
and just because, you know, you have to go weekend beside your training, and 2 weeks out of the month. Then I took the job after I left airlines. I worked for Continental since 1997 till 2008. 2008, when I joined the Army, then I left Continental Airlines after 11 years. And then I was going to school, and I also joined the Houston Police Department for the full time as a police service officer since 2008, 2010. When I commissioned, then I had to go to my military officer school. So I left the police department, went to my school in Fort Huachuca, and after completed, I did about 6 months for Homeland Security,
Okay.
and then I picked up a contracting job, then went to Dubai to do a counterintelligence mission, supporting Air Force OSI and Navy NCIS as a contractor.
Gotcha. So were you recruited from Homeland Security, or while you were at Homeland Security, you applied for this position?
Yeah, well, I was at Homeland Security because obviously, you have family. 2010, I was lucky to have my twin daughters.
Oh
They
yeah.
were born. That means more responsibility, more expenses,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh
So
yeah.
always looking for the opportunity, and that was a great opportunity working overseas, doing a counterintelligence mission. So I took that job, spent there few years, and then I got deployed on active duty to Afghanistan.
Oh wow.
So I was from 2012 to 2013. I was in Afghanistan. In a sense, on the other way, if you look at it, for almost 3 years, I was not with my children.
So you went from counterintelligence to in the field. What did you think about that? Did you think you could probably be used better somewhere else?
Well, I actually volunteer for the deployment
Really?
because I honestly believe it was my other brother and sister turns to come back home, and it's my turn to go there and fight. We're able to arrest over 100 insurgents with the evidence, working, collaborating with the Afghan partners and all that. And although I have lost a lot of friends from my own team, I was able to bring everyone back. As an intel officer, you always worry about that, because what if I miss any intel information? Because we had to go outside the fob every day, not knowing where you're going to get attacked or when the IED is going to go off. And there are so many vehicles, so many people, so many motorcycle, and they don't have uniform, and we had uniform, so they can recognize who we are, but we could not recognize them,
Oh no.
right?
Yeah.
It was hard. Every day felt like a year for me, and you know, it's just not easy. And I never thought that I would make it back. It was pretty bad situation when we're there.
Really?
Um, and I haven't seen my child since they were born,
Ooh, that's
and
gotta be
being
tough.
away for a longer period of time.
How do you prepare yourself mentally for that?
The way I look at things are like you know what me and you are enjoying America right now. There are a lot of bloods, there are a lot of sacrifice in the past, right? Because of those brave men and a woman serve for our freedom and democracy. That's what we are enjoying it. People die left and right in the United States. I mean, if you look at it, gun violence, how many people die a year, right? And if I get to serve, do something good, and I die doing something good, that's something to be proud of it. That's just my thought process. That's the way I think is like, if it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
Because when I joined the military, a lot of my friend and cousin, they say, you crazy, man. You came to America for a better life. Now you joined the military.
Now you're
They're going to deploy you and you're going to get killed. And my answer to them is, first of all, thank you, in a sarcastic way, right? And I said, not all the militaries are dead, and not all the dead people are military. So if it's your time, it's your time. But if I die serving our great nation, I'm proud. I will be proud.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, as you're speaking, I think of a million different questions. So you mentioned you could die here and you could die there. That's very true. But you're also landing in a war zone. In America, there's safe zones. Well, to guarantee, well, not guaranteed anywhere really, but I think one thing that crosses my mind, I wonder if you ever thought about this, running for politics. More people died in Chicago during our stint in Afghanistan than American soldiers did in Afghanistan. Do you think at some point we need to start taking a look at home and looking at what's going on here and making some changes?
You just said, there was a war zone, and I was laughing because look at D.C.
Yeah.
We are in Virginia. Forget about Chicago. Look at D.C. How many
Southeast is
people
terrible.
get killed every day?
So
Look
why,
at Baltimore.
why don't we make that a priority? Why don't we fix that? Why is it still bad? It's been bad since I moved here 20 years ago.
So, one of the things that during the election campaign, if you look at it on the Google, you can find it. I was the first congressional candidate who turned AR-15. Although I'm trained, I know how to handle the weapons. My background is clear, but I turned that in to raise awareness. Right? Do you have to have, AR-15 style rifle with you? Matter of fact, I would say you don't even have to have a gun. If you want to go shoot, you can go to the range and rent something and practice there.
But my point is, we're not putting money into those communities. I went to Southeast for the first time. I'm from Santa Barbara, California. And when I went there, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Couldn't believe it. And I think right now there's a war going on inside of this country. It's an internal war. It's a war between the haves and the have-nots, and they don't even know they're fighting. It's kind of like when I look at war, when I look at all the money we spend on defense, and you look at who we're fighting, it's like, man, is this a fair fight? Can't be fair, right? Given the situation. But what they're dealing with is almost impossible to come out of. And spending time in Southeast for about 6 months, I was disgusted, totally disgusted, and wondering, where's all the money going? Because per capita, more money is spent in Washington, D.C. per kid than anywhere else in the world. Go to D.C., you don't see it.
So one other thing that, I want to bring this to your attention, that we're not thinking. In America, if you get in trouble, right? During my campaign, I say we need to start teaching law from the primary, kindergarten we need to, because those kids, they know if they do something, they will be, caught by police. They probably go to jail, but they don't understand the consequences long along their life, right? So what happened is people make mistakes. That's just the age and different things and all the other things surrounded by, right? Your peer pressure and all of these things. People make a mistake. But once you make that one mistake, it haunts you the rest of your life. When can they actually get an opportunity to fix themselves. It's almost like impossible in America.
No, it is impossible. I can tell you now, once you have a record,
Yeah,
you're done.
you're done.
You can't do anything else. You know, like that's it. And
Unless you're running for a president, you can definitely be convicted felon and still be a president.
that's the only way to get a clearance
Yeah.
in this country
Yeah.
is if you go to the top.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because only the governor has the option of clearing your record. And even then, they don't do it. I don't know why they don't do it, but they don't do it. So yeah, it's very interesting that you know this. And it's also interesting that you actually ran for Congress. So let's go back a little bit to so now you come out of the army, you've done your time in Afghanistan, you come out, and then what's next after that? So you come home, you got 3 women in the house, and you've just spent the last 4 or 5 years with a bunch of dirty men. How does your training help you in transitioning into that?
So the biggest thing I want to mention, I came back from Afghanistan in 2013. 2014, I was diagnosed with PTSD. And it is very sad. Less than 1% of American population serves in the military forces. And I tell you exactly how I felt. They brought me back from war and threw me in the middle of the ocean to figure out whether I know how to swim or not, whether I can trust anybody, how to get out. In 2014, I was very close to commit suicide because I was lost. I did not know there was no help. Although they talk about all this VA and military help, this and that, but yes, it's VA runs in a business model, not the service model. They look at you as a suspect, not somebody who served this country and signed a blank check of your life and ready to die for it, right? So I applied over 500 jobs. I couldn't find one,
Wow.
you know. And then I thought I'm going to be on the street, homeless veterans, with my wife and kids.
Yeah.
And it bugged me that did I do the right decision? Why my kids and my wife is suffering from my decision? They supported me.
Yeah. You sound like you're talking through my head. But go ahead.
You know, I gave everything, all my juice for the country. Come back, and I am just thrown in middle of the ocean. I start sinking and sinking and sinking. Then, like few minutes of my final decision to do harm myself, I turn around. In last 10 years, I have probably helped, if I have to count it, 3,000 people going through this mental health issues, giving them a hope, and they all don't find. You know, but that particular time, I look all over, above me, under me, surrounding me, everywhere. Is there anybody who can listen to me, who can understand me? No. You go to VA, they will interrogate you like, have you thought about killing yourself? This. It's just like 10 questions back to back, 30 minutes is over, I have another person, and 6 months later you come back and you go see another doctor. And same question again.
You're just cattle.
Yeah, it's like a business.
Run through. Yeah.
And we are not a business. We're the soldier of this country.
Yeah.
I fought yesterday, and I will fight tomorrow, even, limping, walking, limping, whatever I can do. But I will, as long as I live, I'll fight for the country. But what's happening in the world, what's happening in America, it's not the same anymore.
Yeah. It's not. I also don't think it's publicized. What's really going on? I think there's a big curtain. There's a stage, but behind the stage is a massive curtain, and behind that curtain is a world. That's a very dark world, and the rest of the world sees what's on the stage. They see what's on TV, but they don't see the reality. Let me tell you that. I want to go back. So we come back. You come back here. You're left alone. You just got back from war. You're diagnosed with PTSD. Then what happens?
I'm diagnosed with a lot of different things. And as I was applying, job everywhere, from McDonald's to big company to everywhere. Whatever you.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I had a degree, but nothing was working. And one day, but one of the things that was very close to me all the time is the God. That I always ask God, am I going through this some sort of exam, some sort of test?
Man.
And one day I say, God, I cannot take it anymore.
Yep.
I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
I've been in the dark room for days and nights alone and crying because I don't know what to do. My bills are continuing coming up. I'm looking at my
Every
kids
phone
and
call is a
everything.
collector.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I know God is there, that out of nowhere I got job offered from BNSF Railroad. There are 30 over 3,000 applicants. They actually contacted 100 applicants for the interview, and out of that they hired 36 people, and I was one of them as a mechanical foreman. I'm not mechanic. I did not know nothing about air, the railroad, what it is. Beside, I've seen the rail. That's all I knew. But then I took the job, moved from Texas to New Mexico. But I always wanted to serve the country. Then I also realized that railroad is also part of the serving country because the amount of goods, including military stuff, they transport from one area to another area on timely manner. But while I was there, I always want to come to DC. I speak multiple languages. I have a lot of different things. I blend in many different ways, and I think I would be a good asset for the country. A good soldier, a good serviceman. Then I got job offered with the NSA, and although that was a big pay cut for me to leave the job that I had, and the railroad has a wonderful retirement. Nobody has that like a railroad,
Yeah.
but that's not my priority.
Oh no.
Money is not the priority. Serving is the priority. So I left there, moved to um, Maryland. I was on the reserve. I transferred from National Guard to active duty to reserve. I moved to Maryland and worked there in NSA. Also worked for U.S. Cyber Command. I was also put on active duty in the middle again. So I was serving in the Cyber Command. I did for 5 years. Then after NSA, I moved to CIA.
So when you go into the NSA, that's a huge transition from being on the streets. It happened fairly quickly. What were your thoughts, and was it different when you got in than when you got out? So one thing for me, right? One thing for me is that every time I've gone into something, it's always different when I'm on the inside than I thought it was from the outside. And then what I've noticed was when I'm in there, nobody wants to tell the world that it's not the same because that's your image, right? So I went to a military college and everybody thought great things about it. Like you couldn't, if you go here, everybody loves you. Like that was the perception I have had. When I went there, it was so much harder than I think anyone could imagine. And there were so many people that quit. Of the 45 people in my company, only 12 graduated. So it was just so much more depressing than I think anyone knows. And I wasn't exactly proud of the reason it was depressing. So when you got in, was it different or was it exactly what you expected?
The biggest lesson I've learned from my deployment, that the life we have can end at any time. And I'm going to come back to answer that question. That everything we fight for it, everything we claim this is mine, yours, and if you really look at it, our body is not even ours. The minute we die, nobody calls you by your name. Everybody calls a dead body. We need to take care of the dead body.
Yeah.
We all become a dead body.
Yeah.
So the way I look at the things in this world. Right now it's beautiful day today. It's sunny.
Yeah.
Me and you can look at the same thing and you can see something different than I can. But one thing that both of us can do if we wanted to, that think in a positive way, that
It's a
it is a
choice.
beautiful day.
Yeah.
I have another day to live. Thank God for giving me this day, and I'm going to make the best out of it. But if you go look at it and say, oh, it's sunny, it's burning my skin, eyes, it's too hot, and da da da,
Yeah.
you'll always find the negative. So you focus on a positive energy, you find the positive. So when I moved from one job to another, first of all, I was very excited. I think 2 3 days I was up just with the excitement. I just couldn't fall asleep
Yeah,
because
that's
that
how,
was my
that's
dream.
funny.
First impression is like, man, I am so lucky. I mean, how many people, even they're born, raised here, went to college and everything,
Can't
what
get in.
percentage get in
You cannot
coming
get in.
from Nepal with not being able to speak English? You know, leading a command, as I was also a commander for a while in the army,
Mhm.
leading the troops all the way different position. Now I'm into one of those elite agency in the world
Oh yeah.
with all this tech and everything. I was just like, I don't know how to say. It's just like something you want it and you get it before you even touch or play and figure out anything. You just excited, right? You
Yeah.
just want to jump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the biggest part of it is that all the friends that I have lost in downrange, all the friends that committed suicide after we came back from Afghanistan,
Mhm.
I could not bring them back. But I know I could do every single hard work to make sure all Americans that are in America and around the globe, including all the servicemen and women,
Mhm.
things I do will help to protect them, bring them home safe, not in the casket.
Yeah. So at the NSA, I don't know how much you can talk about, but again, was it what you expected, or was it more or less, or were you? How long did the excitement last? Is my question.
I was there 3 years every day, brother. I mean, my wife says, Monday is your best day, right? I say, yes. I just cannot wait for Monday to go to work.
It's so funny you.
I wanna add something in between, right? What I've seen
Yeah.
as an immigrant coming to this country,
Okay.
a lot of American does not they do not realize what do they have.
Well, okay. Now, when you say that, what do you mean when you're talking about? Are you talking about freedom, or are you talking about opportunity, or what?
Everything. You
Hmm.
know where I came from.
Yeah.
There are people they cannot even have a meal twice a day. And we sit here with all these
There's
opportunities
people
and
here.
everything
They
and
say.
whine about it. Those people, they're on the street. Earlier, I told you the biggest problem in America, nobody think about it, is if you make a mistake, your one mistake haunts you the rest of your life, and we need to change that.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to change that. We need to give an opportunity for those people to make a better life and enjoy the life they have. They have no choice. They cannot find. They ended up on the street.
We had Obama. We had Bill Clinton, who made things worse. We've had two Bushes. We've had Biden. We now have Trump. Why hasn't it changed? What? Why don't they change it? What's the real reason?
So I tell you, real reason what I see. First, we don't have term limit. People go into politics and stuck on the chair
They stay.
for 80, 90 years, whatever it is.
Oh, don't worry.
One.
We're about to get them out.
All right.
Yeah.
Second thing, majority of the people, if you look at in the politics, they're not like a regular me and you.
No.
They come from their connections, all this. Like, you know, recently I ran for US Congress. I have education, I have experience. I've spent 23 years serving this country and 15 years in the private industry, 38 years of experience, right?
Yep.
But do you get that much support? No.
Probably not.
Yeah. So,
Often not.
because those people, they don't understand you because they have never been you or in your shoes. The reason why I gave up everything to run because I came as an immigrant. I slept on the side of the street as a homeless. I struggled every little things. I think I understand the regular general American population, what we struggle with,
Yeah.
and how hard the life is. They don't.
No.
Do you think a Trump, he was not brought up in a poor family?
He's never
How
been
would he
he's
understand
never
how
been
to be?
hungry.
Yeah,
You
how to
can't
be poor.
explain hunger
Yeah,
to someone who's never been hungry. They could repeat the words, but they don't really know what it feels. Now, you meet someone that's felt hunger and you know when you look them in the eye.
yeah,
You know like, oh, this
yeah.
guy's been there, right? Just like so I
Yeah,
don't
he
want to go to
called military sucker and loser.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Remember what he said about John McCain?
Yes.
Remember what he said? He said, I don't want someone that gets
And my
captured.
question is, have you ever served
He
in the
would never.
military?
He would never let his kids, and he would never.
Yeah.
No. So we need to. There's a lot of changes that need to be made, but there's also a lot of power sent down to people that are saying things like we're talking about. They don't want that to happen. You ever watch Squid Games?
No.
Basically, a short summary. You have a green squad and a blue squad. What they do is there's these elites that recruit people who are in need and they're in debt. So they recruit these people who are damn near about to die. They're literally homeless. They have more debt than they can ever make up for. They've made mistakes. They recruit them and say, "Hey, we can erase all that for you. Come with us and play these games, childish games." So they play these childish games, but the problem is the consequence is you die if you don't win. Well, here's the deal. There's about 10 games. I don't know, 10 to 12 games. After the first game, they start to realize, oh, this is real. You die. But now you can opt out or you can opt in. So the green team and the blue team, they have a chance. If the majority votes, they all take all the money in the pot. So their total combined debt becomes the money that you win. So the people that die, their debt goes into a pot, and the overall group who's alive gets to split that if they want to. So 3, 4 games into it, they can vote to get out or not. The majority always votes to stay. Now, at the end of the first season, I'm going to ruin it for you. The end of the first season, the guy who wins, he's not satisfied. He's got like $20 trillion in the bank, but he's curious. He's like, who's in charge? Who are the people that are doing this to us? Who are the people in control? And are they going to recruit again? He finds out, builds a team. They go and spy on the team that's recruiting, and he gets selected to go back in undercover. So now he's back in, and he's telling everyone, guys, here's the deal. We can all get out of here if we work together. And no one's listening to him. They're like, fuck you. Who cares? Doesn't matter. We're trying to get rich. Get out of our face. And as the game goes on, he gets more and more angry, and he starts to yell. And he's like, listen, I know what I'm talking about. And the more he screams, the more they look at him like he's stupid. And that's how I feel like this world is that in America that we live in. The more information you give and the more the public knows, the more the media makes you look stupid. And the harder it is to get through to the normal people. It's just say, hey, listen, guys, they don't have your best interest. We can all win if we come together. But we never do. And the same people end up, look at these 90-year-olds in Congress.
Exactly.
They can't even swallow their spit.
Exactly.
And they're out here trying to protest. Get out of here.
So let me ask you real quick. The way your dad was raised,
Yeah.
the way you are raised, and the way you raising your children,
Yep.
they're all different.
Yeah.
World had changed big time. The globalizations and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
All this technology, everything it had changed, except those people. Same people sitting there running and look at it. I don't care what political party it is. $184,000 a year is not gonna make them the rich they are right now. If you look at it, the other thing in America,
Can't
the
make
problem
$20 million dollars in one
yeah.
year. Yeah.
The other problem in America, there are only two parties. It needs to be other party, strong party. The new age, new generation kids, you need to get up and get involved in this politics
Yeah.
and save America, because America is ours. Not only those two party playing games and fighting left and right. The other question, other thing I want to mention is that as a leader, whether in the military or in anywhere, I always look at it this way. You need to run from the center, not this way or that way or like my way or highway. You are elected by your constituents to represent them, to fight for their needs,
That's it.
not for the party.
That's it.
You need to be loyal to the people who elect you, not the party who you run, because they're Democrat and Republican. There are things they have done wrong. And even within your party, you need to have a guts to say, you know what, my friend, you're wrong.
Yeah.
We don't have that in America. So there are a lot of problems here, you know. But one more thing I want to add. When you see the problem, there are two things you can do. You can run away because you don't want to be involved and be selfish, or you can run into and fight hard to fix the problem. But that's me. I want to run into.
Okay, I hear you. Now, my question is, where are these smart people when it comes to making changes and fixing our communities, our local communities? I mean, this to me, it's like this. It's like being a doctor, having the best doctors in the world work in that building, and I'm sitting here across the street throwing up every day, sick. Where are all the smart people? And why can't they come together outside of that building and create a diagnosis?
The thing is, they are coming together, but they're serving the higher, neglecting the people like me and you.
So,
They're focusing on
so,
pleasing the higher.
so are they really smart?
Well, you know, selfish.
So it goes back to Squid Games again. We win more together than alone. I wonder if that'll ever change. Because if the best of the best in that hospital can't come together and say, hey, stop drinking the dirty water. Dirty water's going to kill you. I know it's blue, but it's dirty. They just can't come and say that. Then we're doomed.
Well, I wouldn't say there's ever going to change. Definitely, we can change it. Like, have you ever thought about that America will have African American president?
But you got to understand something. Here's a gap in history. A lot of people that come here don't understand the history of America. Remember we talked about the DNA of a country. There's a lot of blood lost, not outside the borders, in the borders, okay? A lot of people wouldn't be here if that blood wasn't lost, okay? There was 400 years of like free labor. That's a lot of money, by the way. If I had one person for 4 years, I probably would never have to work again. That's a lot of money. If you just put it in the market, you never have to work again. But I think a lot of people don't really understand the DNA of this country and what it actually takes to have change. Because what it's really going to take, if it's still the same, it's going to take blood. And I don't think people are willing to give blood to change out of their comfortable positions. You did it. You left a comfortable spot with a family to go overseas, but would you leave your comfort now for change here today?
I will for the country.
There's not enough people that will.
Yes. Tell you what. Um, Earlier, I mentioned having just two party is bad for America,
It is. I agree.
because even if you get elected, are you freely be able to serve your people who elect you, or you have to listen to your
The people that paid for you to get there.
yes,
Well,
and that's why I just like look. I mean, I am running. I ran, and I'm gonna run again. I'm not running for money. I'm not running for name. I'm running to serve the people. They deserve a right representation. Deserve a soldier who can fight for their needs. If you are thirsty and you want a water, and I just say, well, give him a beer, you know, he'll be happy. It costs more. No,
calories, yeah.
you need the water. Those people, those leaders, they come to your house, knock on the door, and after election, they will come to see you again next election. All this time, they don't know what happened to you, your
They're
life.
on vacation. They're never
Yes.
in office. They're never working. We're very familiar. So let's do this. We're gonna transition into that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're at the NSA. The world is great. Do you get recruited by the CIA? Are you doing a joint mission, or how do you end up?
Now, I always wanted to join. That's a elite organization in entire world. I've watched a lot of movies, and you know, however, movies are movies, and the realities are different. But I thought the experience, knowledge, and skill I have, I can even go, you know, more on serving country. I always tell my manager, whoever it is, take every juice I have, because that's what is gonna make me happy that I got to serve. Don't worry what time it is. If it requires for me to mop a floor and that's going to complete the mission, let me do it.
Hmm.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what my job. I care about the mission. What is our mission? Make sure nobody ever can stand again against us and touch us or harm any Americans in America or anywhere in the world. And we're gonna go very hardcore on them. Right.
Okay.
So
So NSA has the toys, CIA has the people. How do you get from one place to the next? How does that happen?
uh, I can't really.
Okay, so then you go into the CIA, and how was it there? When
It
you
was
first
great.
get in, how was it versus when you left?
There are a lot of learning curve, obviously, very different. It doesn't matter wherever you work, how much experience you have when you go to the new organization, there always that time phase that you have to learn things, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of rules, regulation you have to follow
Hmm.
because you got to do the things in the right way,
Yeah.
right? So, pretty exciting things I got to do. The biggest thing is knowing, getting up in the morning, going there, things I'm gonna do, it's gonna help another person to come back home safe.
Hmm.
It's gonna help to ensure there are any bad guys trying to harm us any single way, any means, we're gonna get them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I cannot bring the friends that I have lost, bring them back. But if they're watching me from up above,
Hmm.
they know I'm doing everything, utilizing all my skill, knowledge to protect America and Americans.
Got it. So while there, what was your job title when there, when you first got there?
Intelligence officer.
Okay, and when you left, it was the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, did you find it challenging? Did you find it tough? Did you feel like you had more to offer, or what was your reason for leaving?
Because I want to run for U.S. Congress.
Seriously?
Yes. The reason I say
So you left to run for Congress?
yes, the thing really got me, and I'll tell you because why it made me leave the agency and run for the Congress
Mm.
is mental health issues, and it's not you will face whether you want it or not, and you will go with that, and you cannot even share with anybody, right?
Yeah.
As a military, I can say I was deployed to Afghanistan.
Mm.
As an intel community, you can't talk about, not even yourself, you
Mm.
shouldn't. uh, but you are a human,
Mm.
and there's I know Rand Corporation published the report a few years back about the mental health issues, suicide rate in the community, and this and that. There are 23 veterans commit suicide a day. Right now we're talking, and today there are 23 veterans dying somewhere. Think about it. Is that what they deserve for sacrificing everything, going to
They're killing.
La La
Well,
Land?
here's the thing. It's important for people like you to be honest. It's very important because there are things that are not said on camera that would save a lot of people's lives. A lot of people are going into things thinking one thing. They're thinking about glory. They're thinking about coming home with a fucking trophy. And they're coming home to a bunch of a community, a civilization, a society of people who could give a damn and care less.
Yeah.
Okay, and even bigger than that, it's trickle down effect. Their government could care less. Okay, the only time they care is when it's time to go to war. When it's time to come back, where's everybody? They're thinking about Christmas. They're thinking about Valentine's Day. They're thinking about their girlfriend, their boyfriend. These guys that come back get no credit. The only thing the thing that they come back more to than anything is a cheating wife and kids that don't know them.
Yeah.
And they don't come back to a job. They don't have jobs. They can't buy a damn job. They don't have a lot of people. If you're counting guns all day, what are you gonna do when you come back? You gonna work for khaki?
Yeah.
How? You know. So I think that we need to be honest about what you're actually doing. We need to be honest about the people that are sending people to war. We need to be really honest. How come all of these where the governors they don't send their children to war? The Congress, their kids are in private school. My kids, like, let's be honest here. That's not who you're recruiting. You don't want to send those. I don't want a nerd fighting a war for me. I don't. I want a mean guy, right? But all of our mean guys are in jail. We got a prison system that has more people locked up than the entire world combined. Is it really that dangerous here? You know? Or is the gap just really that large? Because I ask myself this. I'll ask you. If you have a baby in a stroller and you're outside and you're homeless and she's crying because she's cold and you see a car with a blanket inside of it and the windows rolled down, you gonna dig your hand in there and grab that blanket for your baby?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna let your baby just cry, freeze all night?
No.
Right? So is that stealing or are you doing what you gotta do? Right? The guy that steals top ramen from the gas station, does he deserve to be shot? Probably not. Right? But let's give him some food because we're sending millions of dollars overseas to feed and house and build. You get where I'm going?
So I mentioned earlier to you, if you look at it,
Yeah.
right, the minority community, like me, you, right, we are not rich. We cannot afford. Just like right now, what Elon Musk and Donald Trump is saying, like, hey, it's gonna be bad for a while, but just be patient. Well, you got $1 billion. You can be patient all night long,
Not
all
only that,
day long.
it's been bad. It's not just getting bad.
Yeah.
It's been bad. Now
Yeah.
you made it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, during the COVID, the price increased, the price gouging, nobody controlled,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it hasn't gone down. Even COVID is gone. The price hasn't gone down. And now it's getting worse, right?
Yep.
So earlier, what I said to you is that people like us, we don't get exposed to those resources. We don't get help saying, hey, guy, look, you made a mistake, but let's fix it. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna train you on this job and this and get you a job and you'll have this and that. No. Oh, what's his name? Oh, he was caught stealing, shoplifting. We're not gonna hire him because he's a shoplifter the rest of his life. Now, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Because you gotta feed yourself. You gotta survive.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't believe there is an option. And I've looked actively, and there's new legislation being passed at a local level. I'm gonna look into Alexandria, but I believe it was passed this past February to help felons kind of seal their case so that they can have opportunities. But all I know is this: if you lock people up for petty things and you give them a record, the problem is once they have a record, every time they get pulled over, they're going to jail.
Yeah.
And every time they go to jail, they got to miss work. And every time they miss work, they miss money. And every time they miss money, they got to hire a lawyer. And after they hire a lawyer, they're not paying the child support. Then they don't pay the child support. Now they're going to jail for something else, or their license suspended. Then their license is suspended, and their passport suspended. So now they can't go to work. Now you don't go to work, you don't pay your lawyer fee. Now you got it's like, what in the fuck? A traffic issue turned into a suspended license, turned into losing a job, turned into a divorce, turned into all of this because a guy who got arrested for getting in a fight in a bar did his time, did his probation, but the first thing a cop sees when he gets pulled over is he's a fighter. He's probably not a fighter. Maybe he was defending somebody. You know
But
what I
in
mean?
America, they say if you
In
get
America, you're done.
you get punished and you fulfill whatever your punishment
You
is,
still get punished the rest of
you
your
should
life.
not.
They
But
say that.
They say that. But
They
they
say
don't do
that. No. There's no turning the card. It's over.
Yeah. And then we talk about we have problems. What those people gonna do to survive? They're gonna end up stealing chips and this, and they go to jail. Think about this. That, you know, I talk about Project 2025 during my campaign. Trump came. Yeah, he's the president as a position. Yeah, he is everybody's president. It is what it is. But the thing is, he said America first, American first. I did not know that means to get laid off and don't have a job because the first 4 weeks of his presidency, he fired thousands of Americans,
Well,
put everyone through the mental stress, mental health issues, not knowing people work for the government for one biggest reason, it's a job security.
it ain't money.
It ain't money because you don't get paid that much.
No.
But you work for job security and serving your country. He took it away from American people in the first 4 weeks of his presidency. So now I was like, oh, that's why you were saying America first, American first.
America, the corporation,
Yeah,
not the people that
not
work
the
for it,
people.
not the people. So, what do you think about Signalgate? When you saw that, what were you thinking? You had you come from the intelligence community. You had the highest level of intel officers texting on a group chat,
Oh,
and none of them knew that a reporter was on. Forget it. Somebody that wasn't supposed to be it was on this chat. What do you think about that?
all of them are disqualified to be in the position what they are right now, running the
They're in charge.
country.
They're in
Right.
charge.
The biggest thing that really bothered me
Mm-hmm.
is they trying to cover up instead of saying, you know what, we fuck it up.
But hold on. Let's go back a little bit. What does it say about who they are as people that they aren't careful enough to look and see, okay, I'm on a group chat, who's on here? They're not the type of people that are careful people. Did you get that? Or, and also, as an intelligence officer, tell
Well,
me this real quick. As an intelligence officer, is it wrong for me to assume that you're intelligent?
no, it's not wrong.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong.
So, at
I
a
mean,
bare minimum, I should assume that you've got some level of intelligence, right? And if you work for the IC, right, the intelligence community, it's fair for me to assume that you've got some certain level of intelligence, right? So what do you think the people think now?
first, it made me think, how would you add on those chat somebody that was not in your contact and that is a journalist?
That's just a flat out lie.
Was it intentionally done? That's my questions, because the other thing is, as you see during the Senate questioning the IC community, I mean, Odi and I, the chief, Tulsi,
Mm-hmm.
right? She is a military officer.
Mm-hmm.
Hesketh is a military officer,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
and
he's
and
what was he? He was in the he wasn't.
National Guard. The thing is, we are all trained and taught these things. And what the chief of the agency said, oh, it's allowed. So you just give adversary information that the TTP, what are the communications stuff, you can use a text, say, hey, Mike, where are you? But when you talk about the airplane operations and troops and
Tell him
all
the
of these
gap of when it's
things,
going to be
right?
dropped. Yeah,
And they say it's not classified. They're just looking, all the Americans, we are all stupid.
that's what I want to know from you. I just wonder, like, we see what's going on with the FBI and knocking on people's doors for Facebook posts. Do you think maybe they need more training? Do you think maybe we need a new process with selecting leaders of these organizations? I mean, because clearly, I mean, these are amateur moves here, and I don't see how I could look at this as a professional and ignore it.
So what happened happened.
Yeah.
You need a leader, doesn't matter whoever in a position, who can accept when they do it wrong, being wrong, and find the way to fix it and speak about it. Second thing is, when this happens, they should have been terminated right away,
Immediately.
immediately.
I agree.
All right. This is not like, okay, you covering, you're doing this. I'm going to try to cover you. That is not a right way.
Yeah.
And I want to say to all American, whether you're Democrat, Independent, Republicans, whatsoever, you are first American. Whether you're black, brown, white, yellow, whatsoever, first, you're American. We all fight to make sure my children, your children, our community is safe. We do take a different part securing America.
Mhm.
So let's not divide. let's not see us as a different. I remember when I was in a battlefield, I still don't remember who was to my left or right, whether there was a black, brown, lesbian or transgender, Hindu, Muslim, Christian.
Hmm.
All I knew, that was another American. And we had one mission to defeat the enemy. And we are willing to put our chest to make sure nothing happens to our battle buddy. We, all of us. I need to deploy it in a war place to understand the unity, understand what is America, what is American about. And I come home and it's all division, destructions. How sad it is. Our American people, we are number one country in the world. Do you know the Loudoun County, richest county in America, 49% of the students are suffering from mental health.
Because their
Those
parents
are
aren't home.
those are
Because they're the smart people who they don't know how to be. Listen.
so we can go
Well,
on and
tell me.
on,
Well, tell me this. I need to know. And I got your message there. But I want to know. I want to dig in a little bit more about you and who you are. How do you judge a man?
by the accent.
By their actions. Okay.
Not what they say. People say many things.
Hmm.
What they do. That's
Okay.
what it
And
matters.
what are some things that you look for that a man does that would define how you would judge them?
What comes out of your mouth?
Really?
Can you?
But you can lie with your mouth.
That's what I'm saying. What comes out of your mouth,
Yeah.
and if you don't do that in action, the respect is gone. So don't speak something that you don't have a way to make it happen.
Hmm.
Don't give a wrong hope.
Hmm.
If you look at it in American politics, maybe around the world, when the politician comes and he start campaigning, they give you all kind of hopes.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you look at it, this is a new guy. There is a hope. Let's support. The minute they win, they forget about you and start working for their hires and pleasing them.
Let's be fair.
So
Let's be fair. I admit that every organization I've gone into, and I believe I've been into every, because of my job I worked in as a contractor everywhere in DC. Every single place I've gone, it was different once I got there. So to be fair, maybe after you run for office, there are things that are different inside that prevent them from actually doing the things they wanted to do while they were standing outside. So with that said, because in my experience I've seen that, I'll give them that benefit of the doubt. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe they do want to do, but they can't. Maybe there's something bigger that we don't know about.
so I've always been known, even in a military, every places I've worked.
Mm-hmm.
I speak to my heart and I do what I say.
Okay.
And tomorrow, if I get elected, it's going to be the same thing. You always know who you are representing, who you're fighting for. There are a lot of people comes to America, enjoy America, and talks bad about America. I've seen those people too.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse my language. I tell them, if you hate America that much, you don't like America, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I agree.
I love this country.
Yeah.
I love this land, and I don't want to hear anything bad about it. Nothing is perfect in the world. If you want to complain about it, come with a solution, what you think in your mind
Mm.
that we should do. Anybody can complain.
Yeah,
Finding solution is hard.
I agree.
But, I mean, there are going to be challenges, there are going to be ways, but who changed, right? Why we have America from native Indians, then came from England to here,
Mhm.
and now we have this big United States of America, right? People probably, if they have thought that, oh, that could never happen, then you wouldn't. You always think Yes, we can change. We can make the change. We need to educate. We need to engage with the people. We cannot just let the people do whatever they've been doing for years and years and sitting on the same position. I mean, one thing I was meant to say earlier that I forgot. If you get elected in the Senate one term, you get your benefit the rest of your life. While I was deployed in Afghanistan, they're holding our paycheck. Government shutdown. What kind of practices is that?
Because they don't want to. They don't want to work. They work
And when the
8
government
months of the
shutdown
year.
happens, you mentioned about contracting, right? All this building, their little coffee shop people survive with that.
Man.
How it impacts.
Oh yeah.
Nobody cares about me and you because they're not from me and you family.
Yeah.
And we need to work hard to get there so we can make the change for regular American people.
And the regular American people need to hold people running accountable.
Yep.
And we need access. Because once they go over, they're not accessible. We don't have guts. We don't have leaders. We don't have people who aren't scared to argue. We have a bunch of passive, comfortable, pretty boys that don't want to fight. And we need people who like the smell of blood. That's what we need. We need people who come to fight. Let's go. Got something else for you. If it comes up, let me know. We can chop it up. The way I judge a man, I look at his kids. That's it. I don't give a damn where you've been or what you've done or who you work for. If your kids, look at Elon, for example. He had a tweet the other day that said, I could have went to a really fun party, but instead we found $200 more billion in waste. Look at this. And all I could think was, dude, you have 12 kids. Go spend time
14.
with them on the weekend. Not what are you thinking about parties for? What are you thinking about budgets for? Go spend time with your kids. That's a question I think that we should be asking people. What's your teacher's name? What's their teacher's name? What's their favorite subject? How are they doing? What's on their mind? Because these kids that are suicidal and have mental health issues, it's because they don't have the tender love and care they need. We need to be touched as humans. We need to bring that back into the world. We need to understand and know what the feeling of God is. Whatever your God is, it's the same, it's just a different vehicle. And I think that's taken away. We get so caught up in our title or our badge or what we have access to. We're not fucking using it, man. What's the point of being an intel officer at the most distinguished agencies in the world and you can't manage your wife or your kids? And they also, even worse, they don't know how to manage people. I'm programming my kids right now to control every situation. And I say, you need to be in absolute control all the time, absolutely everywhere. And my daughter's mission this year in 6th grade, it's not to get straight A's with a report card. Our mission this year is her teacher. We have to master that because they have dominant personalities. And Jewel, you have to learn how to deal with that. And you have to make her love you. Forget the class, the subject. You can pick that up later. You master her. She's from Brooklyn. She's hardcore. Brooklyn lady, doesn't take no shit from no one. Well, guess what? My daughter's the most outspoken woman I've ever met. So let's figure that out. And let me tell you, it's been a challenge.
You mentioned about daughters. My daughter, first time they flew an airplane when they were 13. I volunteered with the Civil Air Patrol, and I made them join. My kids, they're 15. They know how to cook, how to clean. They do everything themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my friends like, what are you doing? They're too little. I say, you know what? The way I look at it, that's the way I love them. So tomorrow something happens to me, they can survive in this world.
Easy.
I make them independent. Handing food and everything on their bedroom, that's not me. I want people with the discipline. I want people to value what we have. Because, one thing is certain is death. We all gonna die. What is uncertain is the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I really love my kids, my family, I need to make sure that can happen to me at any time and they can survive without me. And earlier you mentioned about mental health, right?
Oh, yeah.
If we don't do anything now, I'm telling you, next pandemic, it's going to be mental health. Do you know all those ingredients to make the medicine, prescription medicine, comes from China? And if they stop sending those ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to run out of prescription medicine within a month.
Well, that's why what's happening
And
with
I don't know what they put on the ingredients.
yeah.
Is it making us, slow poison? I don't know. Who is looking at it? I mean, who is
Mm.
paying attention of regular American from the morning till the night? What they go through? What kind of medicine? What the side effects and all of these things? Do you? I mean, I
No,
don't know if you saw on the TikTok. There's like even there is a medicine to cure. I don't know how accurate it is, but I've seen the video. It says, "Oh, we have a medicine to cure the cancer." Why cure the cancer when we can just prescribe them and sell the medicine again and again and again for years and years? All of these things that's happening. People really need to know this thing. Really need to think, and then say, "Hey, we want to make this place great," like he said, then we gotta do the way what we're supposed to do, not just listening. And earlier you mentioned, talking about those waste, fraud, abuse,
yeah.
going golf and on the
And a private jet,
yeah, private jet,
helicopter.
helicopters,
Dude,
and
you got
then
guys in the
during the
Pentagon.
games, right?
You got guys in the. I'm gonna cut this out, but we have guys that dropped off every day in a helicopter.
Yeah,
Every day, these dropped off every day.
yeah,
It's. I'm like, wait, wait, they're getting picked up at their house
yeah,
and dropped off every day.
yeah. And now you want to take it away, Medicaid, these senior citizens who gave up their life to make what America were enjoying it. They did their part, and now they're on a senior home. They don't have the Medicaid, their prescription. They don't have a medicine, and they're just dying in front of us. That's what we Americans are, and people like me and you. That's the best way to keep us down, never let us rise into next level. I even think like, look, oh, football, yeah, go. You're black, that's fine. Basketball, go. Politics, oh no, 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 no.
Yeah.
You
Stay
know what I
away.
mean?
Yeah.
So I think of a lot of things what's happening in America and how it's happening. If we want to stop drugs, there is absolutely way we can do it. But somebody's probably getting fund from somebody is doing something somewhere and that hurts them, you know and now who we're going to use? Oh man, get that damn kid. Just he doesn't need to go to school. Get them hooked on the drugs and sell them. That way we'll have our troops. I don't know, but I'm just giving my thought. This is my opinion,
I'm
what
just
I think of it.
the way I look at it is like this. The American public spends a lot of money. We give a lot of our money to the government. There's a lot of people that are very smart that we hire, that we train. Spend a lot of money on training you guys, right? When are we going to get that back? When are we going to get the people that come out? When are they going to come back into the communities and take the training and help us beat the enemies that are at home? Because I don't feel like we're winning that.
Whenever the
We're
elite
losing that.
decide to do that.
But no. Why does it have to be the elite? Why can't it be the regular people? Why can't it be every
Because
day
you
somebody
want this
retires?
fast. Earlier, I said, okay, so I ran as a Democrat, and like I said, I'm more like a center leaning, little more towards the left, right? So I picked Democrat. Tomorrow, if I say, you know what, if I run through the party and I have to, do what you asked me to do, I don't want to run either party. I'm going to be running independent. What's going to happen to me?
Well, I've been recruited 3 times from the Republican Party. What they do is they have a nice strategy. They find places where no one's running, and they say, "Hey, we want you to represent us here. You have to join these committees because everything's done on a committee, and we want to bring you in and teach you how this works."
Yeah, and you have to speak what they ask you to speak.
Well, here's the deal. I don't see the Democrats doing that. So we need to start recruiting better, and we need a better recruiting plan. And if we already have that, where are they? Because I've never heard of them. I don't know where they are.
Since
But I can tell you this Republican Party, dude, they're organized and they've got money. They've got money behind them. These guys, that's all they do. It's not their second job.
So I'm going to tell you this. I said this to Democratic Party. Being a new, first time running, right? January 2024, that's when people start knowing who I am. But if I was a Democratic Party, strategist. I would have said when the President Biden was elected, President Biden, you go less out in the public. Put who we want, Kamala Harris to be next president. You start putting her in the front line. Year three, because you're old and health issue, resign and let Kamala Harris for a run as a president. I mean,
But
handle
Biden
as a
lied the
president.
whole time. He went in saying that I'm here to set the template for the next to come, and then he went to and then he tried to run again.
I
Remember,
mean,
he was forced out.
and that's what I'm saying. Republicans are much better on these things than Democrat.
Well, career politicians are a nightmare. But the beauty is, I think they're idiots, and I think they'd be easy to take
But
over.
you need, if you want to have a good best country, you need a combination. You need intel officer, you need a lawyer, you need engineer, you need a finance, you need all of these different people coming in because
No,
we
the,
all see the same thing in a different ways.
yeah,
The guy who never served, what does he understand about serving on a uniform and deploying out there?
not a thing. That's why it's easy for them to send them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't pay them while they're fighting for the country, put them through the stress.
Oh, you just triggered something in me. Right now, right now, the country's in a spot where we're having a problem recruiting, and people don't want to join the armed forces. What do you think we should do to change that, and how long do we have? Remember, keep in mind the AI revolution that's taking place right now. China's army has more people than we have in the country, and with all of the escalation going on in Russia, Africa, Brazil, India, through the world, what do you think about that, and how do we change that quickly?
So first of all, I would say we got to change our mindset. It's not a conventional war like used to be
Mm-hmm.
on a uniform to uniform in a battle space, and you go there and start shooting each other.
Mm-hmm.
The computer, the internet, everything had changed. I believe China probably already have all the electric grid of America. So if I'm one of those actor and I sit on get one computer and you start putting a malware to explode all this transformer, imagine the day in dark in America. What's going to happen? You're going to have no gas, no electricity, no communication. Your food is going to ruin in a couple of days. And we're going to start killing each other to survive. They don't need no troops. They don't need no fighter jets. And internet is a battle space, has no borders. We're talking about borders controlling, putting the wall in US Mexico, but we're not thinking about the cyber side of it. You know how many financial institutions get attacked? Opium was hacked, right? The
Every
health,
every year they get hacked.
yeah, every year they get hacked.
Mm-hmm.
And why they're hacking? They're looking at all the stuff when there is an attack happen. They want to destroy us. Right now, the other part, division that's created in America last several years. If we fight, me and you fight, they don't need to send the troops to destroy us.
Yeah, we'll
We're
take
going
out
to destroy
ourselves.
each other. And people are not understanding what's happening here,
Mm.
you know? So uh, I think the government, right now I'm doing my dissertation. It's AI ML enable fully autonomous vehicle threat to national security.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of pros and cons, and people just think about, oh, this is nice, this is nice. But you can hack into the vehicle using the over the air software upgrade that's man in the middle attack. You can disrupt, destroy, you can create a chaotic accident, you can kidnap, you can assassinate, you can use those vehicles for surveillance and reconnaissance. You can even create a malware to overheat the battery and go boom. Or you can load explosive in the vehicle and take control from somewhere and drive into the infrastructure you wanted to or the crowd and go boom. There's no driver. Who did it? Because the internet, the cyber, and all of these things. And I mean, a couple of years ago, Waymo, I think, had an accident in Los Angeles, killed a person. So there's no driver. Who's responsible for it? right?
Mm.
And now it's all this internet thing. Your phone listens to you, your television, your this, Alexa, everything listens to you. Your watch, looking your health. What they're doing, you know this? So if 1,000 people wear and the health condition I can predict, oh, the new medicine, we need X, Y, and Z. They don't want to cure because after they cure, there's no
There's no
business.
money.
The things we know ourselves that is not right, maybe I need to fix. It's it becomes hard for us knowing something that I should fix myself. It's not easy to fix others and fix the world and the country.
Start within.
So you gotta start within. You gotta believe in. I remember one time I was so frustrated in the military, and I said to the colonel, I say, I'm just gonna get out. And the colonel say, you know, Captain Pokharel, you do really well job. You may not be able to change the entire army system, but believe me, there are a lot of soldiers who will benefit from the way you lead and from the way you think and from the way you provide service to them.
Mm.
So just think what you're capable to do, and at least instead of not giving anyone anything at all, give something to some portion of it.
Gotcha.
So um, it's never going to be perfect. There are always going to be challenges, but I always love to run into those challenges, overcome all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and fight through it, then run away. Because if I do run away, there are only few people who can actually stand up and speak and say what they want to say eye to eye. And if you have that and you run away being selfish, service, what I live with,
Yeah.
has no place for me. That's why, because it has a very high value.
Yeah.
That's why I gave up all my career. You know, it's not easy to get into the agency. You know how hard it is, especially born in another country and struggle. And right now, almost a year, I've been looking for a job. I can't find a job. And in the meantime, I wrote a book called Momo War coming out soon. It's all about the division. It captures about it's a little humor. I picked Momo because it's the most favorite food for Nepali community,
Mm.
and no matter whatever it is, food always bring us together. And division because of that,
We got to start
and
bringing
within the
those.
community,
Yeah.
and also the government, espionage, spy, and all of these things are related there in a sense that trying to pass the message to American people and the world. Division never going to be the solution. Unity and uniting is the solution.
Mm.
And our country name starts as united. We need to focus on uniting
Mm.
and make the difference as a strength, not
Mm.
a tool to fight and create a division between us, but the strength to make it even much stronger, America and Americans together.
Yeah. Yeah. Question for you. What would you change? First of all, I agree with everything you just said. I think that's very strong, very powerful. Um,
Thank you.
what would you do different if you were an elected official today? What would your stance be? We can talk about Signalgate. We can talk about the layoffs. We can talk about, how this is triggered into the commercial world. What would you be speaking? What would your words be for the people right now to the president?
Feel me. You know, when we shake hand and we say things
Mm-hmm.
and we say, feel me,
Mm-hmm.
we say, I feel you. Feel the pain of all American people. The president, the message to him. He doesn't have to worry about the things we every day worry about. Every day we go to sleep with the hope a miracle happens. Wake up in the morning and continue with that hope. Come home sad, disappointed, stressed, and face the family, thinking about everything I have done. Now I don't know where I'm at. I'm lost.
Or where we're going.
Where are we going? What is tomorrow? What is my kids going to do tomorrow? What is happening? What's going to happen to America tomorrow? Be honest. I mean, he prays and believes Putin, but he put us in a doubt. Like, oh, intelligence community, they're not. Oh, Putin is a great guy.
Yeah.
You know, we are American, despite all the differences,
America
a
first.
color, everything. I gave my blood, and I earlier played that song to you,
Mm.
but I felt I can never be the same Adrian that I was before joining the military. But I'm still proud. I still have the uniform. I'm still proud that I got to be an American soldier. And I still deal with that. There are times that my eyes, you know, express
Mm.
those tears drops down from my eyes and somewhere get lost.
Mm. Mm.
My pain goes through there. My everyday hardship, and there are a lot of me.
Mhm.
There are a lot of Americans are going through this. Let's take care our house, our family. Let's take care of these kids that are going through the mental health stress. Let's take care of those senior citizens. Let's take care of those women. That take care of those men. Give them a good life. Give them a good future. Nobody saw when I bleed my blood
Mm.
or my I bleed through my heart. And
Mm.
now, time to time, I bleed through my eyes.
Mm.
Nobody can see it. Nobody can feel it. Nobody can understand. With one desire that I can say, brother, don't worry. I'm here and I'm going to serve you.
Mm.
That was my desire to serve American people where I live. But there are a lot of other things are involved. Are people actually looking for a person who can actually serve and fight for them, or they're just looking for people going this way, that way, and all these other things, right? So we are also every citizen here. We have a power. This time, if I need to send one message to American people, this is the time, despite whether you're Democrat, you're Republican, or independent. It's the time for you to come united together and show the world that you have the power to elect the person and you have the power to take them down as well.
Mm.
You're not gonna just sit here and listen to whatever they say. When your brother and sister losing job left and right without any precaution, now going through all this mental health crisis, financial crisis, and you just gonna sit there and don't think about it, you're not that American. We need to think about what America is American. What's our roots? You know,
Mm.
it just because you have a plate in your house and a food, that's all you care. Then I would say you're not American.
Man, I can feel you. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
here people dying, people are going insane.
Yeah.
And oh, just be patient. How am I going to be patient when my child is hungry
Just be
and
patient while I go
crying?
golfing. I'll be back from
Yes,
golfing soon. Yeah.
so this is the time people need to come on the street and say, look, you can tolerate this much, but you cannot. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Okay, because of black and brown people, airplanes crashing.
Yeah.
And we're just going to sit here. Imagine if the same thing President Obama had said.
Lights out.
Huh? Imagine right now, like I said, I need to watch out what I say. Although I served this country, I've been living here for 30 years and I'm a citizen. I don't know who's going to knock on my door and send me to Salvador that I don't even speak English. I mean, Spanish.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we need to move away from being selfish. We need to move
Mm.
away. What I see last several years is the racism that was That was always been in the United States, and I thought I was in a wrong impression. That was gone. But now I see, no, it's still there.
You gotta look at the
People.
DNA. It's
Yeah.
in the DNA of our country. We do have to resolve that. It's like a wound on your arm. You know, when it's fresh, it hurts if you blow on it. But once it's healed, it's okay. We have to heal the wound, and then we can move on. I think that's something. That's our Achilles heel is
You
racism
want to know how I
in this
feel
country.
right now?
How do
I
you
feel
feel?
like my mother and my sister are getting molested in front of me, and I'm on my hands are tied and I can't do anything but cry. That was the whole reason I wrote the song. And if you listen and you listen the lyrics of the song, you will understand. America has been tearing apart. The country that I serve and I sign up to give my blood and my life, all destroying, peoples are suffering, and I'm sitting there just with my hands tied and I can't do anything. It's sad.
Well, what I'm worried about is that you were looking at the stage and didn't know what was behind the curtain. This, where we're sitting right now and what we're doing, gives people a keyhole to behind the curtain. And it's up to us to determine how big that keyhole is. Because the truth of the matter is, most people, they spend their whole lives and they don't even know what they want. So to ask them where they think they're going, they don't know. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they want. They don't know where they're going, and they damn sure don't know what their options are. And if you don't know that, you definitely don't know who's in front of you,
Yeah.
right? So if you want to scare people, put a mirror in front of them. And I hope that I'm hoping that through this we can create a hole big enough to where you don't have to expose yourself to look into it. You know, because we're all vulnerable
Yep.
and we're all butt naked out here. And it's like there's a few people, just like Squid Games, there's a few people we can't see that can see everything we do.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, but that's like saying slavery happened for a reason.
No.
Where I'm from, now a hot girl gets a flat tire, everything happens for a reason. Someone's going to change it for her. I could chop my head off and lay on the side of the road. No one's stopping to help me do anything, right?
Yeah.
So I believe in happenstance, but I also believe in you are where you are because of who you are.
Yeah.
So what I'm interested in, based on how far you've gone, I'm very interested in where you're going next because your trajectory is pretty damn steep the way I look at it, and it's exponential. It's not it's exponential. So I think your next, whatever's next for you, is going to be pretty big.
I can assure you, you'll never find me any different.
Good.
You'll, and one of the things that down the road, what I want to do is I want to be that leader, that congressman, that senator, be an example, change the world to see how you do the politics, how you serve the people when they elect you. It's not about you. It's just like when I drive a vehicle, if I'm a driver of the bus full of students, it's not about me. My tiny mistake can take away their life. I have a responsibility of all of those people, their parents, their trust in everything. So every move I make, I have to take away me
Yeah.
from that equation and put all those. Put the people first before politics,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Serve, be loyal to the constituent elects you, not the party supports you. That doesn't mean you disloyal to the party, but you have to have a guts to stand up within your group to say if they're wrong, you are wrong. Right?
Well, you're going to have to
That's
build your own bus. That's the problem. So now I don't know what the next steps are. We should definitely follow up and do another conversation.
absolutely.
We're
So
running out of memory before we run out of time. But
it was a
um,
great conversation. I really
yes.
appreciate me giving the opportunity to talk about it. Um, and I hope the way American people trusted me to be a soldier, and if you listen to my song, it says I never served the left or right. That means I never fight for Democrat or Republican. I always fought for Americans,
Yeah.
and that was always going to be
Yeah.
fighting for Americans.
Yeah.
And I hope I will get that opportunity in the down the road,
Mm.
and I will make sure I never disappointed my service and throughout my career, and I'll never disappointed all the people that I will be serving in the future.
That's awesome. Can you look in the camera, say your name, and just say your name and what your goal is? I guess with running next time.
My name is Adrian Pokharel. My goal is nothing but to serve you, fight for your needs, be the loudest voice for all of you, and stand without any fear in any circumstance to defend you, means all American, our constituents. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm Justin Matherson, the Oravox. Thank you.